NBC's senior medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres, who's with us here in Tokyo. I mean, reading from this document, it's really alarming. It found that the Delta variant is more transmissible than the viruses that cause MERS, SARS, Ebola, the common cold, the flu, smallpox, and it is as contagious as chickenpox. So, I mean, what is the practical effect of this? It also found that transmission is as likely among the vaccinated as the unvaccinated.
Savannah,
your head kind of explodes when you hear this.
And I think, unfortunately, one of the consequences of this is you're going to hear a lot of confusion. A lot of people are going to not understand what exactly is going on. And what you're seeing is you're seeing real-time science play out in the open. Usually it's behind closed doors, and scientists debate back and forth, and that debate finally gets settled, and then the information comes out. You're seeing the debate right now. And so what you're seeing are scientists looking at the data. Some of these are unconfirmed studies saying, okay, it could be more contagious than this. Unvaccinated or vaccinated people are getting it more often, and those are true facts. However, we don't know how much that's going to affect everything overall, but it is concerning.
Well, so what's the bottom line here? If I'm vaccinated, which I am, should I be wearing a mask when I'm out and about, outdoors, indoors? I mean, how if I'm out with my mother who is vaccinated but is elderly?
And what it comes down to is how many unvaccinated people are around you, and you simply don't know. And that's why they're now saying, especially in some areas where we know that vaccination rates are low and the case numbers are high, you want to wear a mask when you go indoors, because we now know, and this is one of the things we know it from, that if you're vaccinated, there's still the potential that you could get the virus and the potential that you could spread it. It's not as much as if you're unvaccinated, but it's there. So if you go into an area where you have no idea how many people are unvaccinated, you need to protect yourself.
And I can't find a second easily well, but I don't care. I don't need a second gun. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, kiss my ass.
A representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele. Found the Backstory Podcast, number 93. How about that?
93.
Got Mr. Rip in studio with me today. How are you, Mr. Rip?
Very good. With the ripreport.com, not for profit.
And Mr. Russian, how's things?
Well, I'm on the bench for a while as far as field work goes, but my knee surgery went well and is moving along. I start physical therapy next week, and just a shout out to Dr. Peter Spongy, who did my surgery. Pharaoh is better with a scalpel than just about every other orthopedist in the country, so he has my thanks.
All right, so when are you going to be back at 50%?
About 3 weeks.
All right. So the National Weather Service in Mobile issued a heat exhaustion or heat stroke advisory, signs to look for, and this is no joke. Today, even Mr. Rip has his air conditioner on, I bet.
No, not really. I don't turn it on until I get about an 88.
Well, it's 88 right now, and it's going to 94.
And that's in the car. I still don't use it if I don't have to.
It looks like it's going to rain first of next week, cool things off a little bit, but it's pretty bad around here.
Oh, yeah. Humidity.
How's it out there?
Worse. Last night, I was awake at about 2 this morning, and it was 82 degrees.
Wow.
In my driveway at 2 in the morning.
That's warm.
That tells you anything. This is Texas, son. We gonna lead the league in heat. You know, I mean, when you got a state that's got half desert, nobody's going to touch Texas when it comes to the weather. I mean, you got North Texas that might as well be part of the Midwest. You got South Texas that might as well be part of Central America. And you got East Texas, which might as well be part of the Southeast. And West Texas, which might as well be part of the American Southwest. So we can hit all the records for rainfall, temperature extremes, everything. Every time, every year, Texas, without a doubt. We don't have a climate. We just have a weather.
The highest I've ever seen myself was in Belize, and that was like 112 to 114. And we busted an egg on a corrugated rooftop. I thought it would take a minute. It was seconds. It just cooked it that quick. It was unreal.
Science.
Yeah, the hottest I ever saw was in the Red Sea. The Red Sea was We were right there off Aden, and I think the deck temperature was like 120.
Hey.
And we had the thing when you stood an outside watch, you had to hydrate. You couldn't stand in one place for long, or the soles of your shoes would start to soften. The soles of your boots.
So I got another interesting COVID stat for you, and let's just listen to the news report.
You would think
Morning,
these
Joe.
are the people that know the most.
Yeah, Mika, good morning. About 1 in 4 healthcare workers in this country still have not been vaccinated. This is Bellevue Hospital in New York, and healthcare workers actually rallied here last week against so-called vaccine mandates. We spoke with another group in North Carolina yesterday. Show of hands, how many of you have gotten a COVID vaccine? These are 4 healthcare workers from different hospitals in North Carolina. Why not?
We don't know what the long-term side effects are.
It also hasn't been proven to be effective.
The CDC and many public health experts say that it's more than 90% effective.
They do say that. That hasn't proven to me to be true. I'm not going to just jump on a bandwagon with something that has not been tested.
When you say that it hasn't been tested, it has been tested, though.
But not to if you look at the normal year span of how long something is tested, it's usually 12 to 14 years before it comes to humans.
Across the country, about 1 in 4 healthcare workers still isn't vaccinated against COVID. And from North Carolina to Texas to New York, anti-mandate protests are mounting.
Okay.
Well, there it is.
Okay, so I guess I don't know what to say at this point. I'm going to go with the science, so get vaccinated. I can't believe healthcare workers. I can guarantee you there's not a healthcare worker in a VA and hospital in Birmingham that hadn't been vaccinated.
So, Raines, have you seen this Delta variant ancestral strain and other infectious diseases chart right here?
Yeah. Yeah,
spreads faster.
I'm kind of
more deadly.
I'm kind of blown away by it. It's I don't necessarily agree with the spin that's going on right now. As far as, I mean, if you look at this graph and then you look at the data, yes, it is more transmissible than MERS and SARS and Spanish flu, but it's only marginally more than the others. And let's just encapsulate all that we're going to talk about concerning the new COVID Delta variant right now. Let's go ahead and just hash it out for what it is. We have seen in this country the incredible, I mean, honestly, when people learn about this and at the university level, 40 years from now, 2 generations from now, they're going to look back and say, literally, this was an incredible feat of politicization of a health issue. More so, people are going to forget about Roe v. Wade. People are going to forget about AIDS. They're going to forget about everything. And they're going to focus on the way that this virus was politicized by the parties of the United States to pit people not against a virus, but against each other. And I think that's what it's going to hash out. That's what's going to end up in the gravy, is that these people, that in a normal health situation, I mean, these okay, just the video you showed of the healthcare professionals who refused to get vaccinated.
1 in 4, not some, a quarter of them.
1 in 4. But I'm saying the video of the 4 women, you know, those are the same mindsets that I see, and saw for years behind a bar.
Okay, well, these are the people that get up every day and go to work in a hospital or a doctor's office or something like that. So they're not uninitiated. They know what's going on, and they don't want to take it. And 34.7 million infected and 145,000 deaths later. The Delta variant has come to Baldwin County. All these other variants, I lost one family member, and knew several people that have had COVID, but I know 3 people that have COVID right now. And I talked to some people on the phone today, just kind of a little poll. How many people do you know with COVID right now? Well, 3.
I know one in the hospital.
That seems to be, and these people aren't in the hospital. They're at home sick. They aren't being counted.
No, this guy's in the hospital. He's on a ventilator.
Well, here's how it looks right now. You can see there's the redder the worse. And NES Pensacola is shut down again. Can't get on base. You recall this statement we went over last week. The Alabama governor says it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks. And then, of course, totally irrelevant, Jake Legg, except for a later story we'll talk about where he's, again, reared his head. Tim James, former gubernatorial candidate, and you remember his father was governor twice.
Yeah, the James gang.
DP for life, exercise equipment company. So anyway, he writes this article, and basically saying you shouldn't shame people. It's causing political division, and it's nothing but a blame game. So it could be worse.
No, it's called
this
a pandemic.
guy could be our governor.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah, well, check the Mississippi governor criticizes new CDC mask guidance.
Well, I don't know. It take their brother or sister or mother or somebody like that to die before they wake up. Every night, every day, you can watch on the news, somebody comes out and says, having interviews in the hospital with people that did not take it. States come out with 97%, 100% of people in the hospital are unvaccinated. Duh.
UAB expert, COVID now a wildfire in Alabama, urges everyone to wear a mask. And I went to Birmingham day before yesterday and wore my mask, stopped at 2 gas stations, had a meeting in the conference room for a couple hours in a Skype meeting and with a mask on. It was not fun.
UAB has a reputation internationally as a hospital and ahead of its time.
High-stepping turkeys.
Yep. And
None of it matters.
Several Baldwin County businesses have closed temporarily to adjust to operations of rising COVID-19 cases.
You'll see more.
And I'm thinking that...
who's this business owner?
Well, we're going to watch her real quick.
All right.
It's extremely overwhelming. There's no talking, communicating, so isolating. I love you guys so much.
It's a tough video to watch, especially for 15-year-old Will Easterling. His mom, Stephanie, on a ventilator fighting COVID-19 and not giving up.
It's been hard for her. She's gotten really sick, and it's been hard for us, too, because it's scary. It's a scary situation.
The Fairhope business owner hospitalized 5 days ago with the virus, but Wednesday night, her condition worsening.
So scary.
Her son watching from a distance as Stephanie is transported from Thomas Hospital, flown to UAB Hospital in Birmingham.
The fear I felt at the airport definitely outweighs the fear I have for the vaccine.
Stephanie never receiving the vaccine before getting the virus, but this week she's making a plea to those watching her videos on Instagram.
Get vaccinated. None of this is worth it.
I hope everybody watches that.
Sounds like sound advice. What do you think, Raines?
I'm past the point of advice, have been for quite a while. I think, like I said before, these same people that are so concerned about what's in the vaccine or so scared to get a vaccine or so politically against a vaccine are the same type of people that you get them 3 beers in at the bar, you can hand them a shot glass full of Italian dressing and they'll drink it. So, like I said a couple podcasts ago, my empathy pool, Tony Hawk skating in it, it's empty.
So
common sense.
Silver Hill closed the town hall to walk-ins effective immediately. And did you see this announcement from the New York City mayor? All the government employees must be vaccinated by August 2nd.
That's what's going to happen. See, is there's going to be mandatory in certain sections, and sooner or later everybody just needs to go get vaccinated. Duh.
So I had a friend that tried to get a vaccine yesterday, and they were out
Well,
in Baldwin at a place in North Baldwin.
Yeah, but you can find them.
Yeah, and there's a list online. The Mobile County Health Department issued a statement this morning about vaccination clinics in Mobile County. I did not see one for Baldwin County.
I went to Mississippi, and if they come out with a booster on the Pfizer, I'll take it.
So this week, Rob Holbert's
Lanyap.
editorial in Lanyap was "Damn the Torpedoes: A Questions of Ethics." Did you want me to run that one over, or do you want to take care of that?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll chime in.
Well, it's kind of like I was reading the RIP report from the last couple of weeks.
Ooh, Rob won't like that.
You know, another reason for his purpose is to be a watchdog, and they're watchdogging the watchdog, the Alabama Ethics Commission, which has historically been toothless, deaf, and blind, blind at best.
Double underline toothless.
Right. And so anyway, I thought he did him a fair shake. He ran Albritton over, skewered him pretty good on this Mabel Amos trust, and just talked about how the board of directors have been throwing this scholarship money around, and changed their 990s so that they wouldn't be disclosing the name of the individual that got the scholarship. Instead, they would give a 990 to the university.
Right. So you didn't know who was getting scholarships. And I'm betting that when this all starts to come out in court, because that's where it'll head, we'll hear a lot more about who was involved. But, the thing that gets me about this, Harry, this question of ethics that Rob has put out there, this is the third article, they're the one that broke the story. And it calls upon the public. It calls upon our listeners to do something as well. We're reacting to it, but you should be reacting to it. You should be looking at this and be appalled that the, director
right. Next
of
time
ethics,
you see Joe Faust at the Kiwanis Club breakfast, ask him just what the hell's going on at the Ethics Commission.
Yeah, because we've been saying this for years and years, and now we find out the director himself is involved. Not to mention the Limestone County Sheriff's trial, the three-ring circus of incompetence and corruption. That was written by Kyle Whitmire, and that's the case up in Limestone County. The defendant is the longtime Limestone County Sheriff Mike Blakely. The prosecution is the special prosecution team from the Alabama Attorney General's office, and get this, on the witness list is the vice chairman of the Alabama Ethics Commission. So while Mr. Tom Albritton is taking up the oxygen in the room down here, Mr. John Plunk is the vice chairman of the Alabama Ethics Commission, is having to testify in this court case where he's all involved, and he's not testifying about ethics. He's talking about his participation in the election of the sheriff. It is completely convoluted. I can't wait to see how it shakes out. I don't know how in the world the jury is going to come to any decision. It sounds like every damn buddy involved is corrupt. But again, here we are, members of the Ethics Commission breaking their own rules. So let's see what happens. And thank you, Rob, for staying on it.
So do you know who the line "Damn the Torpedoes" is credited to? Admiral David Farragut.
John
Farragut, yeah,
David
right.
So another, and of course we're Pensacola's a Navy town, and anyway, our local captain, commanding officer of NAS Pensacola, received the John Paul Jones Award, and he's credited with saying, "I have not yet begun to fight." And this is, he's running the tightest base in the Navy, and said that his people were to receive the credit and everything that a great leader should say.
Well, that, and they tightened up after having the shooting incident that they did.
Oh, well, he got and controlling COVID on base. You can't get on that base right now.
Right.
Hell no, that place is locked down. So then there's a new commander at the Anniston Army Depot. And you know what he said?
That's always a mess up there.
Our job is to make sure they got plenty of bullets when they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a matter of fact son of a bitch. I love the interview.
Well, they have a bunch of problems up there with old munitions and old gas munitions.
They burned all that up when I was there.
I think they're still messing with it.
They shut down the incinerator. The incinerator, they don't have a permit anymore, I know.
All right.
So, other good news, I suppose. Cam Ward has been appointed to the governor's cabinet.
Okay.
Hooray.
Rusty Glover still running for auditor. Well. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. So I'm driving up to Bay Minette, and between Stapleton and Bay Minette, they have they're repaving one lane. It's a divided 4-lane. And so there was only one lane available. Well, here come 4 sheriff's deputies. I'm talking about burning their engines up. And everybody had to pull off on the right. And it's been raining around here. A lot of people got stuck and get out of their way, including a transfer truck. So anyway, these guys fly through. I'm there in town. I never hear what went on. Talk to the guys in the courthouse. They didn't know. Turns out there was a standoff, and the whole interstate was shut down for hours.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a word about it.
Yeah, I actually saw it. A mutual friend of ours was actually in the traffic and was talking to her about it. I said the only reason that person didn't die is probably because it's coming up on the Q4 budget, and they may have been low on ammunition.
What exactly happened?
Said there was 3 suspects. They barricaded themselves in the car, and you name it, man. We'll get the official story when they get done investigating themselves.
Oh, right. It'll have to go to Baldwin County Major Crimes. We still have not heard any real details on the one in Spanish Fort. Now, granted, this guy was wanted on 4 counts of attempted murder on federal firearms violations, stuff like that. However, there was over 80 rounds that were fired, and the passenger in the front seat complied, but the man in the back did not. Suddenly climbed over the driver's seat while armed with a pistol. The initial statement by MCU claimed Dearman, the guy with the warrants.
Y'all ever seen the end of Bonnie and Clyde?
Attempted to drive away. Now that's where I asked, did they see a gun? Did he shoot at them? 80 rounds seems, a little excessive. But don't worry, like Harry said, they're investigating this themselves, so they'll report to themselves what happened.
Once we've hoovered up all the shell casings.
And we're the only ones now in Baldwin County that do this. When this happens, like in our company and county here in Florida, they get somebody to investigate it outside their jurisdiction. State police or whatnot, but Mr. Haas-Mack says he doesn't trust the state police.
And remember, your police jurisdiction just changed, so if you live right outside of town now and somebody breaks in your shit or steals your stuff, you got to call the county.
Well, no, I think it rolled back to like a mile and a half, didn't it? I mean, it didn't roll back to the limits. I think Orange Beach said that their jurisdiction would end at their municipality limits, but some of the others, it just rolled back like half or 50%. They're going to have to come out with a map for everybody to understand what the hell's going on.
Once they get all their agreements in place, once all, you got to remember, man, this just cost every municipality in every county a whole bunch of money because they're going to have to redraw their maps and rewrite their ordinances and talk about hating bureaucracy. Well, you just created a damn hornet's nest of it.
Thank you, Chris Elliott. And if the people in the county think they're going to fare better than the people in the city, they're sadly mistaken. This is going to have repercussions on both.
Yeah.
So our Attorney General refuses to reveal his whereabouts on January 6th, says it's a matter of security. And at the same time, he and Kay Ivey filed an amicus brief joining 11 other governors and attorney generals requesting that the Supreme Court reverse Roe versus Wade in Mississippi cases. So Mississippi's tried to make it very arduous to receive said medical procedure, and the Justice Department said, no, you can't do that, so it's headed to the Supreme Court. And there are all these hopes and dreams that these conservative appointments are going to change this, and I seriously doubt that anything's going to happen.
No, it's just one of those things that won't give up. They just keep on and keep on.
And it's the biggest out in the world. You say it's settled law. It's settled.
Well, like my position has always been, I never knew a woman you could tell what to do with her body. You know, that's her decision.
Well,
Katie
Britt is back on the trail, and I guess did you see Jeff Poor's Beltway memo to Katie Britt? Avoid cookie cutter tactics.
Right, that's in Lanyap this week. It's stacking up to be a very interesting race.
Katie, don't listen to Jeff Poor. That would be my recommendation.
Well, that's Jeff Poor's opinion.
I tell you, Katie won a major victory here in Texas last week. We had a special election in District 4, fill a House Representative seat, and the Trump-backed candidate lost in a landslide. The other conservative, it was a primary, and the other, a Republican seat. But anyway, the person who raised the money and did it the local way and said, "This is what I'm going to do for Texas," won the election. And the guy who was some crony, ended up getting the big Cheetos endorsement. He lost in a landslide. So I think that's really good news for Katie Boyd Britt.
Okay, well, the Club for Growth PAC is all behind Mo Brooks, and the Business Council of Alabama PAC is all behind her, and it looks like Shelby is too. I don't know if y'all saw this little back and forth last week, but it turns out, and there's a purpose for Slate, not all the time, but every once in a while, they come up with a good one, and it turns out that Mo Brooks was wearing body armor at Trump's very peaceful January 6th rally.
Oh, I wonder what he was anticipating. He must have had some foregone thought that there might be some serious problems.
All right, so Raines, there's been a series of articles that Rob has written personally, and he has a new one this week, video believed to show University of Alabama security head washing the chancellor's car.
I saw that, man.
And, just from top to bottom, it's they have no ethical qualms about anything they do up there because they're a self-perpetuating board and they have tremendously powerful people on their board.
And I hope people are paying attention because you only can read this in Lanyap, so you need to get a Lanyap. They're the only one approaching these controversial issues. Everybody else is cream puff articles.
Well, let's cream puff another one. Total silence. Prosecutors seek gag order in SHC rape case.
Yeah, let's make everything silent.
Mobile County prosecutors are seeking a gag order in a rape case involving Spring Hill College students, claiming public statements made by defense attorneys, defendant, and alleged victim have the potential to generate unwelcome publicity and extrajudicial statements that, if realized, could substantially frustrate an orderly and objective pursuit of justice.
Who's the prosecuting attorney? The defense attorney, sorry.
Let's see here. On March 30th, the Mobile County District Attorney's Office announced the arrest of 22-year-old Italian national and SHC senior Vasil Kalaki.
I think he's a soccer player.
For the crime, charging him with rape, sodomy, and burglary. That same day, defense attorney Megan Doggett held a press conference to profess Kakali's innocence, claiming the sex was consensual, and he passed a polygraph test with respect to the victim being awake and coherent. In a motion filed July 19th, Assistant District Attorney Joanna Buki argued that Doggett's inadmissible statements during the press conference violated the letter and spirit of the Alabama Rules of Professional Conduct, potentially introducing prejudice into the jury pool. Acknowledging the alleged victim has also been making claims that about the case on social media, Vicky suggests the court may also issue a restraining order against her. So she wants a gag order against everybody who's been going to social media saying things, and she's claiming that the defense attorney, whose husband is the chief assistant district attorney here in Baldwin County, and is law partners with John Beck, who, is a reputable criminal defense attorney. I don't know if that violates the rules. I haven't looked at it. I don't do a whole lot of press conference work myself.
Well, defense attorneys are known to make a full court press for their clients, and I guess that's the American way, the fair way. But silencing everybody and nobody gets to say anything, and you don't find out what happens till it's over, I don't go for that either.
So last week, the members of the Baldwin County legislative delegation named Representative Matt Simpson as their chairperson.
Who's omitted in that picture there, Harry?
Well, he must still be flying around looking for the
he's in the chopper,
cherry-picking applicants or whatever. But these are the guys that you need to talk to next time you run into them somewhere and ask them what's going on at the Ethics Commission.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I was not very overwhelmed when I began to read this article until I started to follow some of the links to what they're talking about doing here. So have you ever been to that place in St. Louis?
No, but I've heard of it.
I mean, that is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And this is an outdoor venue in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The same people, the Sterling Properties that are pitching the Civic Center in downtown Mobile.
Right.
So anyway, I think they're on track. I think they're on to something, and they're talking about 550 residential units. So if you could just imagine that first floor there being commercial and everything above being residential, kind of like Homewood, how they redid their city hall in downtown.
Downtown Birmingham's coming back with loft apartments and, center stage to bars and restaurants downtown. 20 years ago, that was not the case.
No, it was
now you see
crack
people
whores
now you see people walking around downtown Birmingham at night between restaurants and stuff, and it's quite safe.
Depends on who's in town.
Chicken Jenny just waiting on you up there.
Nah, I ain't never had a problem in Birmingham, and I wouldn't live anywhere in Birmingham but on the South Side.
So
we used to call it United Nations on the
this
South
whole
Side.
week's kind of a blur. I believe this was on Tuesday.
It was.
I went to the meeting, and it was not very informative.
A lot of nothing.
It was a whole lot of nothing.
I will say that Sandy Simpson,
obligatory meeting.
Okay, well, I will say Sandy Simpson has been able to get in the White House door over this. He's the only one I know that's been able to do that. Whether it's effective or not, we'll have to wait and see. I think there's tons of infrastructure projects ahead of us. I think we're $1 late on this whole thing.
Well, I talked to the lobbyist for lack of a better word, for the Alabama Truckers Association.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have any of this.
Right.
They're talking about a truck-only toll bridge that all the trucks have to take. And if you want to take it, you can also take it. But they talked about all this toll aversion and putting a toll on the causeway and everything. All that's out the window. So I don't see this thing going anywhere anytime soon because I think they simply don't want to have to turn over the money that they got for the preliminary engineering and all that.
Yeah.
And the environmental study that got finished 4 years ago. And how come we're not using this as an opportunity to fix some of the things we did when we filled in to build the causeway? You do understand that half of that were just little marsh islands where they filled in between them to build the roadway, and it's affected the health of the bay for years.
Well, there in Daphne, where it butts up to the Bayway in Daphne for years, they threw trash there. They threw trash right there and then covered it up. And I can't remember the restaurant, but that I've had people tell me about that.
Okay, so there's a new bridge afoot
again.
Going on to the island.
They want to be like Miami. I'm telling you.
Okay, so remember the Tim
I swear to God, for a state that doesn't want to build cultural bridges, that y'all sure in the business of building actual ones.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
So Baldwin County Bridge Company. So anyway, I just went and looked up infrastructure investor, and they started talking about this Dutch fund managing company and the fact that they owned the Foley Beach Express, and that the last time that this came up, American Road subsidiary and Baldwin County Bridge Company filed a lawsuit accusing ALDOT of violating past agreements and whatnot. So there's supposedly an agreement out there that says until this bridge is paid off, they can't build another bridge onto the island to compete with it.
And at also a certain number. They got to hit a certain number of traffic.
So the geology of Alabama is we can figure out how to get a kickback for not building a bridge. I'll call the guys in Holland and let them know you're in.
Yeah, really.
So rapper Buzz Marquis is in fact dead.
Biz Marquis.
Oh, Biz Marquis.
We lost a couple greats this week. We lost Dusty Hill from ZZ Top.
Right.
Passed away, the bassist.
Right.
And Jake Jordanson, the original drummer from Slipknot, passed. Man. And Ron Popeil.
Right.
Ron Popeil died this week.
You remember Popeil from years back had every kind of invention you could think about.
Ron Popeil's best invention was the infomercial. He invented the infomercial, make the product the star.
Right.
All right. So
always impressed with Ron Popeil.
We got one more story we want to cover, and we're going back to last week where we talked about the mega site.
Right. This mega bucks fruitless mega site receives additional investment by Gabe Times. Now, this was in last week's Lanyap, and you know they're expecting 12 to 15 months before they're ready, say shovel ready with the track in, after another $12.5 million, which is bringing them up to a total of $48 million in the mega site. And 11 years. We're creeping up on 11 years with $48 million. Now, the thing that gets me is that the Baldwin County Economic Development Alliance, Lee Lawson, the CEO of that, says that he's courted some 55 to 60 real inquiries from potential developers in the past 8 years. Now, let me ask you something, folks. If you were to go fishing and you used the same bait 55 or 60 times it didn't catch a fish, would you change bait? Because...
Ooh, Harry, do you feel attacked?
Because, well, I mean, think about it. This is insanity what's going on. More and more money is going in there. It's at $48 million. Here's the thing that's pointed out in Lanyap that, you know, I don't think Baldwin County Economic Development is thinking about. Where are you going to get the labor force? Let's say you need 1,100, 1,500 people labor force in Bay Minette at the mega site. You can't get that now.
They can't open Popeye's Chicken because they can't get anybody to work there.
Right.
That's what I heard.
You got what's Standard Furniture.
Standard Furniture's down to import-export only.
Correct. So, I mean, here you're developing a mega site, and I think the thing should be audited. I think the mega site should be audited. I think that the Baldwin County Economic Development, there should be a forensic audit of all the money that's gone in there. Who are the contractors? Who are the third-party contractors? Because that's the way they hide paying these monies. Sometimes they hire a contractor, then the contractor goes back and hires a third contractor, which is never usually listed. I'd be interested to know, you know, we're looking at the Ethics Commission in Baldwin County. We've had lawyers, judges, board members, trustees, all self-serving contracts, all complaints to the Ethics Commission. What makes us think that the same thing's not going? Well, what makes us think that there's not going on here? You're talking about $48 million. So there should be an audit of the whole thing, and the county commission should be responsible enough to the citizens of Baldwin County to say, look, here's where your money went. Because, here's the other thing, too, that surprises me about the article that has never been said before, is that Mr. Lawson is saying now that they intend to sell the property to developers rather than lease it. That has not been the case. This has always been a lease participation.
A lease project. Yeah.
Right. So now, all of a sudden in this article, Mr. Lawson saying they're going to sell it. When the hell did that come about? I didn't hear anything from the county commission that it was up for sale. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'd like to see that $50 million come back to Baldwin County and go into infrastructure and all the lost opportunity that we've had. But anyway, you can go to theripreport.com, and on Wednesday we wrote an article about ethics, which will bring you up to date on a lot of the articles and what's going on with the Ethics Commission. And then today, Freaky Friday, we wrote one on the mega site. Now, it's a little bit lengthy, but we're going back to past articles and showing you that a lot of what's going on at the mega site is just total BS. And somebody needs to be a little bit more accountable of what's going on there. So, again, I encourage you to get your Lanyap. You're not going to read it anywhere else. Nobody else has picked up the story on ethics yet, except Lanyap and the Rip Report. So, Lanyap is where I would recommend that you start if you're concerned about your community and the people involved in government.
So three breaking news issues. BBC World News says the Australians are sending the army into Sydney to enforce the lockdown. Coming to a democracy near you. And there's a tweet from Mr. Archibald saying, in the middle of a huge surge of COVID cases, Alabama Department of Public Health says there will be no update today due to an error. Please check back tomorrow for the next update. And do you know who Dave Rubin is? The Rubin Report. He's a conservative commentator. Anyway, his Twitter account's been suspended because of things that contradict what the WHO and CDC and Surgeon General have had to say about anti-masking.
Breaking the rules.
Breaking the rules. All right, so Raines, what's up with you this weekend? You hobbling around, bitching about your knee?
Hey, I'm really trying to not do nothing. You know, I apologize for my lack of clarity the last couple of weeks. I've been on these remarkable pain medications for it, and I'm really not doing a whole lot of nothing. I'm trying to. One of the worst things about having a surgery like this is that when you've dealt with pain in the joint for so long, when that pain's gone and replaced by slightly less pain, you kind of feel like, oh, wow, I'm cured. I can get up and do whatever. Well, nope, you can't. And I've figured that out the hard way, of course, at least twice in the last 5 days. So I'm going to be taking it easy, living it up. I'm embracing a new study that I just read. Do you know what happens when you combine human DNA with gorilla DNA?
Paul Rip. Chelsea Clinton.
You get kicked out of the Birmingham Zoo.
All right.
Woo. Okay, so I'm going to get a puppy this weekend.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, Doodle's getting a puppy.
All right. Y'all are getting a dog?
Yep.
Yeah.
A puppy.
What kind of dog?
We're going to see how well that goes.
A border collie poodle mix.
Pulling the trigger on it. I'll be darned.
Trigger.
Forget that house down payment. Buy a $12,000 dog.
That's what I was thinking.
Later, folks.
And I can't find a seconder usually when I propose this, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me. And